Hello and welcome to Newsworthy Stories with Jacqueline Jimenez. I like to bring attention to businesses and organizations that not only provide a great service, but also impact the community. ICABA World Network does just that, and they also do it by awarding the people who are impacting our community, who are making a difference. So let's look at ICABA Salutes Men Who Lead, and we'll hear from the man behind it.
We've got to pour into each other intentionally and purposely and consistently.
Jerome Hutchinson Jr., the Chief Servant Officer of the ICABA World Network, pouring into a room full of distinguished professionals. Each in attendance for the prestigious event, ICABA Salutes Men Who Lead, which was sponsored by Truist.
This is actually our second in-person event in 3 years, which is highly unusual for a company that has done 300 events over the past 12 years. So I am really, really happy and excited to be in a room with people that we can actually touch. We are connecting, collaborating, and building a community of Black professionals and entrepreneurs in order to be able to succeed, lead, and prosper.
The award signifies those who not only achieve excellence in their industry, but build up their communities in the process.
This level of excellence is absolutely remarkable. I feel very fortunate to be here among you. As the president of Broward College, please know that I and this institution supports you in everything you need, and I mean that.
What I do is access to capital, and I advocate for entrepreneurs.
I'm glad to be here at ICABA. What brought me here is that I was nominated as an honoree for the Saluting Men Who Lead. And it was great to be honored by your peers that understand the work that you put in. But more than that, it's great to be in a room of Black honorees, Black men that are making a change in the community and the culture for the better and for the betterment of our culture.
There were 15 chosen for the ICABA Salutes Men Who Lead Award. The honorees, a culmination of high-profile industries, nonprofits, and government.
One of the first things that I set out doing is setting the vision for people. And I think you should never assume that people know what it is you're trying to achieve. No matter when you're visionary and you want to move forward quickly, there are always people in the back that are scared. We've set up these same types of platforms, but never on a global level, only on a local. So I salute ICABA as well for the excellent job they're doing.
Thank you, Ernest.
Thank you very much. First, thank you to ICABA, and thank you as well for making me a part of such a magnificent cohort of honorees. First, I want to report out, leaders always have to tell the truth and speak well of their peers. Our table has met the challenge. We are connecting, collaborating. We got all kinds of connections we've worked out.
Many of the honorees giving great thanks for the Men Who Lead Award and being recognized for their superpower. Then it was time for the engaging breakout sessions.
We had Black Wall Street that we invested in our own communities. So how do we keep the wealth? How do we make sure to reinvest in our legacy? Are we really having those conversations where we are challenging our kids to be able to really, ask those questions that we may not be ready to hear the answers? And as you mentioned, you don't want to put thousands of dollars into your child's account and not allow them to work for it. But if we had that conversation saying, hey, let's think about protecting our wealth.
The story they was telling was I was on a plane going to Newark, New Jersey here a few weeks ago. And as we were getting on the plane, I'm listening. And there's this little kid about this big, maybe a little bit taller, and talking to her dad. And she couldn't be more like 10, 11 years old. And they're having this discussion about how she's going to invest her money, whether she's putting it into the stock market or whether she can put it into bonds. And they were just having a conversation like, are you going to take me to Chuck E. Cheese today? So it's culture. It's culture.
For the first time, ICABA World Network also establishing an award in memory of Dr. John W. Ruffin Jr. for his legacy of excellence, professionalism, and philanthropy.
So today I'm, kind of doing something that's we don't typically do. But this is one of those things, going back to what my mother says, to give somebody their flowers while they're living. And so I took, if you will, kind of an executive privilege and selected someone who I know fits the bill of the John Ruffin Jr., John W. Ruffin Jr. Business and Civic Award. Dr. John W. Ruffin Jr. Mr. George Tinsley Sr., the first recipient of the John W. Ruffin Jr. Business and Civic Award. Wow. So George, this is Dottie Ruffin. Okay. All right. So they're taking pictures. So you get in the middle. Yeah, you get in the middle. You are the awardee, so we have to put you in the middle.
I just want to say thank you. It's a great honor. The Ruffin family, well known in our business, in the aviation business, and of course, I've followed the track record of all the work that is done by you, your husband, and your family. So congratulations on what you've done, and thank you for the honor.
ICABA is known for creating an atmosphere where you can connect, collaborate, and build communities. And this event did just that. Attendees were given time to build relationships and enjoy a delicious meal together.
As a woman, I go to so many events where women are being honored, and so rarely do I see prominent black men being honored. And I think that is such a service, because there are so many men doing so many things that I didn't even know, and I've been living here for years. And Hutch has provided, ICABA has provided a platform for the rest of the world to see it.
Next year, we're going to do this again. 364 days would have passed. And the question you've got to ask yourself, I've got to ask myself, these gentlemen, what did I do? There's no point in us coming here, sitting today, getting all this information. We just wasted a day. I shouldn't say wasted, but we spent a day here. All this knowledge got poured into us. And tomorrow morning, we will wake up and it'll be malpractice if we do absolutely nothing. Tomorrow cannot be the same as today.
So joining me now to talk more about ICABA World Network and ICABA Salutes Men Who Lead is Jerome Hutchinson Jr., who is the founder and chief servant officer of ICABA World Network. Hi, Jerome.
Hi, Jackie.
So tell me more about this great event and what it is you do with ICABA World Network.
Well, I'll start out with ICABA, which is actually an acronym that stands for Identify, Connect, Activate the Black Accomplished. And so everything that we do, comes through that filter. And if it doesn't fit, we don't do it. So that's really the starting point. Also, part of what we do is, create connections, collaborations, and community, because our goal is to create wealth, enhance leadership for a thriving community of Black professionals and entrepreneurs worldwide.
I ask you, why did you think it was needed?
Well, it's empirical evidence, and it's all around us that wealth is something that has, eluded us to the extent that I think we all feel like that we should have. If you look at the comparisons of the net wealth and net income of Black households versus white households, if you look at the wealth and that's in the United States, but if you go around the world and you look at the wealth that we hold and that we control, it's not relative to where it should be based upon our population. And so wealth creation also allows you to be self-determining, allows you to be able to take care of your community and do the things that you feel like are top priorities. And with the leadership component, being aligned with having the wealth, then you can really make things that you want to see happen in your community manifest themselves. And that's the reason why we focus on those two things. And we believe that one of the ways that we can create wealth is by bringing people together who are already doing great things, who are doing well, connecting them to one another so that they can collaborate
and build a community of professionals worldwide. And out of that will come the wealth creation and the strengthening of leadership.
And I tell you, Jerome, the people that you attract, it's always not just their business or their service, but it's the way they impact the community. I mean, it is so refreshing to attend your events because the people around you, they're so encouraging. I love to cover, the ICABA events now, just for that reason alone. It's just every time I walk in the room, no matter who's in it, there are people who are difference makers, and it actually inspires you and gives you energy just to be in that room. And so for that reason alone, I would definitely want you to look into ICABA World Network because of the people that it attracts. Why is that? Why is that, Jerome? Tell me about yourself and tell me about the organization as to why do people want to be a part of the ICABA World Network, that vision that you have?
Well, ICABA World Network was, founded in 2009. So we've been around for, almost 12, 13 years now. And we've done over 300 events during that time. We've recognized in excess of over 1,200 Black professionals and entrepreneurs around the globe. And we've brought countless number of people together in terms of building connections. I know just this morning, we have one of our members who is a wealth advisor who is meeting with another member who is she's an estate planning attorney. And the wealth advisor had told me that she was really looking for relationships with some Black attorneys that she could be able to refer a business to. I put her in contact, and I just happened to talk to them earlier today, and they met, and they're going to be doing business together. And that's really the way the world works. The world works based upon the connections that lead to relationships, the relationships that become collaborative. And if you can build numerous opportunities for what I call collisions and connections, okay, then it will create those collaborations, and you will have a community of thriving Black professionals. And so that's what's been really important. I think what happens is that, first of all, we are, as we say in the hood, if you will, we're true to the game. All right. That's not just a slogan. It's not just a tagline for us. That is really the DNA of what ICABA is all about. And I think that people see it. I think they feel it. And they realize that when they come to the events, that we are delivering on the promise that we make to them. And they're the kind of people who want to be involved in things like that. And so it becomes, if you will, almost like that snowball rolling downhill. It gathers, if you will, and becomes more powerful. And people are sharing that energy, sharing those vibes. And as you know, during the events, I'm also constantly stoking the fire. I'm letting people know, hey, you're not just here to sit here and eat, have a good time, pat each other on the back. You're here to build some connections, get together with people, start collaborating and building a community. So I think all of that together is the reason why, the aspirational aspect that we see going on at ICABA in terms of people feeling good about what they're doing, connecting with people, and having that kind of energy. I think that's where it all comes from.
And really, your events are not, when people hear about events, or even ICABA, like your focus is the Black accomplished. But when you go to your events, they are diverse. There are people from all nations, at the ICABA events. And so, especially if you're looking to work with Black-owned businesses, Black professionals, you're trying to, diversify your workspace, ICABA is a great place to do that because of not only the connections with one another, but the people they are connected to, as well, and the people you are connected with as well. So I just like to always bring that about because I always get that question. Every time I post a story, people are always like, is it just for Black people? And I'm like, no, if you're interested in what we're talking about, come out.
Well, Jackie, you make a really good point, and I have that question posed to me from time to time as well. And I tell folks that is the mission of what we're all about. And if you can, support and be a part of that mission, we'd love to have you as an ally and an advocate. And so
you can't target Black people without saying Black people. It's just that simple. This event here, the ICABA Salute to Men Who Lead, it was significant for many reasons, because you don't hear about Black men being, honored and valued in this particular, setting. Tell us why this was important to you.
Well, you really opened up the door to that, and with your statement, and you're absolutely right. One of the things that has happened over the past 8-9 years, I think, and probably even a little bit longer, but I think in the general public consciousness, Black women who have just done a phenomenal job of empowering and getting connected, collaborating, building community, if you will, have really, if you created what I consider to be, the impetus in some ways for what we are doing with men, because I have 2 daughters, and I see a dynamic sometimes that does trouble me, and that dynamic is that our women are doing a better job, I think, in terms of professional development, business development, empowerment, and so on and so forth, and is creating a bit of a gap between those Black women who are doing those things and the Black men who are not doing it to the same level that Black women are. And where I think that that does show up is not only with women our age, Jackie, also my daughters who are 25 and 30, not being able to find an abundant supply of young Black men who are professionals and entrepreneurs who are in the same, if you will, like-mindedness that they are similarly positioned as they are, who they may want to have relationships with, engage with, and at some point marry. So I don't want us to continue to see that gap get wider. I want to see that gap narrow, and I think it's incumbent upon Black men, to really do what we can. One of the things that if you remember that we did during the event was we also focused on big brothers and big sisters and trying to get more Black male participants. And thank God we've got men who are going to be coming out of that. And so one of the things that we're trying to do is to leverage what we do to impact other efforts that are also aligned with things that are part of the ICABA mission. And Big Brothers and Big Sisters, getting more Black men to become role models and big brothers, is something that we've taken on as a real commitment from us.
And what I also like is what people might not realize is we don't know each other. And so we don't know the professionals in our own field, or in the fields. And when we're looking for experts in our fields, we can look to one another, but most of us don't even know what the other one is doing. And so I love that you highlight what these men are, and women, because you did the ICABA Salutes Women of Impact earlier this year. And I got to meet and learn about all these great women that are in my community and beyond, because this is a global network. You have over 13,000 members. Yeah. In fact, I joined this year myself. Yeah. I just joined. Don't look, So that was the influence. That was the influence of what I saw. And I don't join a lot of groups, and it's because of what I did see and the relationships that were forming from it.
Well, you're absolutely right. And one of the things I want to emphasize here is that we're not just, if you will, event companies where the relationship building, the connections, the collaboration, the community take place. We have an online ecosystem, our website, our ICABA World community, and the ICABA World Marketplace. All of that comes together to provide opportunities for Black professionals and entrepreneurs to meet each other, develop relationships. We have mastermind groups. We also have events that go on online. We have on our marketplace the opportunity for our professionals to find career opportunities, to get the guidance and support in terms of things that they need to enhance their personal development, professional development, and career development. We have business center where folks can find business opportunities, and they can also access resources. And matter of fact, one of our new things that's coming out here next month is the ICABA Collab, where we have a direct opportunity for you to come on, do your intake, tell us what you're looking for. If you're a business owner who needs help with HR or marketing, then you tell us that, and then we connect you directly to people who are in the network that can do that, and also connect you to resources that we've already identified that we know that can help you along those ways. So, online and offline, the ICABA World Network is just very much committed to helping Black professionals and entrepreneurs to succeed, lead, and prosper.
Yeah, and you're doing a great job. That's just the hands down. It's just the platform. It's just you provide a place for everybody to come together, and that's what makes it easy. And then you have the professionals to back it up, and then you give them opportunities to share. That's really important. Now, this particular event that you did, you also had a very special award. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I tell you what, Dr. John W. Ruffin Jr. Business and Civic Leadership Award, which we announced at the event, was both, if you will, very much needed and well-deserved, but also personal to me. John Ruffin was one of the first people that I met when I came to town. And during a recent memorial for him, I heard something that really put who John Ruffin was into perspective. And the speaker said that John helped people to fulfill their dreams. Okay. Now, I can't think of a much higher, loftier call to service than helping people to fulfill their dreams. And when I first met John, we had an event at my home to welcome a guy who had moved here from Detroit named Chauncey Mayfield. He was a private equity guy in real estate. And John and I, along with the Broward Alliance, held a reception in my home. And what was so funny is that as we went around the room and had everybody to introduce themselves, people were starting to say, well, I'm here because I know John. And the next person, I'm here because I know John. And so it became a joke at the end. We're like, well, we thought this was an event to welcome, Chauncey Mayfield, but it's turned out that this is the meeting of the Friends of John Club, and but he was just that kind of guy. He was extremely welcoming. If you wanted somebody to introduce you to somebody that you were trying to meet and to develop a relationship, particularly in business, there is absolutely hands down nobody that would do it better than John. Matter of fact, you'd almost have to pinch your own self sometimes and say, is he talking about me? But he was just so generous and so gracious. And he was also an extremely accomplished man. And he was also a very giving man. I mean, he and his wife gave over $1 million that they raised for the UNCF, over a number of years. And now there's a endowment fund, the John W. Ruffin Endowment Fund that they have. And he's supported so many different initiatives, and he's on so many boards and just did so many things for so many people that we just felt that it was important for us to keep alive the memory and his legacy. And we couldn't think of a better way to do this is that every year during the Men Who Lead, that one individual who really, if you will, embodies John Ruffin would be awarded the John W. Ruffin Jr. Business and Civic Leadership Award.
And this year, it was Mr. Tinsley here. And I know you know him very well.
Yes, I do.
And it was, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, George Tinsley, his story is the true Horatio Alger story. I mean, you talk about, he's a millionaire today, but he did not have a crystal staircase that he climbed, and he did definitely have a silver spoon in his mouth. There was a story done on him on Black History Month for one of the Tampa news stations. They called From Abandonment to Achievement. And that was exactly the story. He was abandoned as a child at 7 months old, lived for the next 13 years of his life with a woman who was handicapped, lived in a one-room shack, okay, and they slept in the same bed together. And he was in a very poor neighborhood, and there was nothing about, his upbringing, that says he's going to turn out to be this outstanding athlete, professional, civic leader who's going to be inducted into 6 different athletic and business Hall of Fames with awards all over the place, having done so many phenomenal things, but also someone who's so prolific in giving back and being involved and encouraging others. As a matter of fact, he talks about, and one of his themes is turning obstacles into opportunities.
I'm like, well, Jerome, you embody all that, I mean, I think you be giving your own self that award sooner or later, down the line. And I say that, and, I know you don't like talking about yourself and stuff like that, but, everyone who meets you, even someone I'm working with right now, and I mentioned your name to them, they were like, oh yeah, Jerome, he's this great guy, and I'm like, yeah, he is, and you don't get that from a lot of people. I think you said in the story, you don't take yourself very seriously, but you take
Right.
your work seriously. And it's kind of like that when you first meet you, is that you're very serious looking, and then all of a sudden you say something, funny, if you will, because it takes you a second to go, okay, is he, is he hard? Or, what kind of guy is this? But really, I think that's part of it, is that one, if and they call Jerome Hutch all the time. I have a problem saying Hutch. I don't know. I say Jerome more than I say Hutch, so I go back and forth. But it is something that I enjoy, is you're a storyteller. And so if you're going to be around Jerome, you're going to have to bring in some story time, because, Hutch is going to share that with you, because he's had so many experiences. And I just wanted to introduce you not only to the ICABA World Network, but also to meet Jerome, because he is somebody who is highlighting businesses and organizations that are impacting the community. And I want you to know these people. If you're looking to partner with somebody, he's the kind of person I want you to partner with. And so these are the kinds of people, as you know, that I bring to Newsworthy Stories, because if I don't tell you, sometimes it's hard to find them, because they're just busy doing the work. And that's what we're supposed to do. But every once in a while, we got to, lift you up and shine a light on you, so that people know that you're there. And, everybody knows you clearly, because every time I'm around you, there's a ton of other people there. And I just say that, and that I want other people to know you. So I wanted to thank you for, coming on with me today. But I just want people to be able to find you, learn more about the ICABA World Network, and go to ICABAWorldNetwork.com. Talk to Jerome, see what they're doing, see how you can partner. If impacting the community is something you want to do, this is the person you want to contact. Jerome, is there anything else you want to share with us today?
Well, I wanted to say this to you, and that is, it has been one of the most impactful things that I've done in the past year, in terms of connecting with you. And you're doing a phenomenal job with Newsworthy Stories. Just kudos to you. And matter of fact, when we get off, we got to stay on for a while, because I got two potential opportunities for you that I want to talk to you about. And that's really what it's all about, in terms of us being able to share and assist each other, promote each other, and do that kind of thing. And you said something I laughed into myself about just a second ago, when you said that, you may not see Hutch or being here or there, because, we're doing what we do. And people ask me all the time, how do you find these people, Hutch? I've never seen them. I never hear about them. I said, well, you don't probably see them because they're busy doing what they do, and they're not out, probably doing a lot of things, and because they're so busy with their professions or their careers. And then a lot of these folks, that when they've got free time, they're spending their free time with their families,
Exactly.
And so
exactly.
The people who are really serious and having an impact generally don't have a whole lot of time to kind of just hang out, so the folks who can hang out a lot, that's probably, because they have more free time, and that's their priority. So but Jackie, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate everything that you're doing, and continue making newsworthy stories so that we can all learn what's happening.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thanks for watching Newsworthy Stories with Jacqueline Jimenez. I will see you next week.